Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is optibotimus coming to you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 294 of the 2-pack of Bruce Wayne and Batman from Batman Returns. Now this video really, it kind of takes me back because about 4 years ago, I did my second ever Hot Toys review and it was of the 1989 Batman. I distinctly went back and rewatched some of that, and in it I said I wasn't going to get crazy with Hot Toy figures, and here I am 4 years later, and because of all of your guys' support, I'm one of the most viewed Hot Toys and 1/6 scale reviewers on all of YouTube. So I cannot ever thank you guys enough for that support. The 1989 Batman, specifically just Michael Keaton as Batman in general, is my favorite version of Batman. And we waited 3 long years to get Batman Returns. In terms of toy form, we had to wait 4 long years to get this guy. But I'm excited and I think this is well worth the wait. For the package, you got a really nice image here of Bruce Wayne and Batman, kind of with Gotham City, and then you can see snow kind of falling because you remember, this is kind of a Christmas movie. Takes place during winter around Christmas time, so yeah, it's a Christmas movie. You come around here to the side, you can see that it says Batman and Bruce Wayne. The other side here has that same text. On the top of the package, you got the Batman Returns logo, which really does look cool. It's got that, you know, wintry sort of look, and then Batman Returns right there. On the back of the package, you got the various warnings and things of that nature, and then you can see that it is a bit of a shoebox kind of package that just opens just like so. And then on the inside, we got that nice Batman logo with Batman and Bruce Wayne right there, and then you got the cast and crew responsible for making this. Then you just slide this little slip cover kind of thing out, getting that right out of the way. And you have the clamshell with Batman and Bruce Wayne and all of his accessories right here on the inside. Now, like I said, this is the 2-pack. The Batman figure is available separately, but if you want to get Bruce Wayne, you got to buy it in this 2-pack. And with it, you get a couple extra additional accessories. But I'll touch on all that here in a little bit. But so for the packaging, that is about it for it. So without further ado, let's get these guys out here and see how cool they actually are. So here we have Bruce Wayne and Batman open up and out of their packaging. And while the original Batman from the 1989 movie was a DX version, this isn't, but this still comes with a heck of a lot of stuff. Now, starting off with Bruce Wayne first, for his accessories, really all you get are just a bunch of extra hands. Both Batman and him come with these extra wrist pegs. As you can see, Bruce Wayne's are just the flesh color, whereas Batman has the black color to kind of match with his actual suit. And then, in addition to the 2 relaxed hands that are currently on him, he has a both right and left kind of pointing hand. Both of them are sculpted a little bit different. You can mostly see it here with the position of the thumb. All these hands are sculpted in a way that you can use Batman's weapons as well with Bruce Wayne. So I do like that. So you do get a slightly different right and left hand here with a kind of a pointer sort of thing. You get a right and left closed gripped hand. But again, you can see that both are slightly different. Whereas the left one here is a little bit more of an opening. The right one is a little bit more closed. And you can see that his finger comes down a little bit more towards his thumb. Obviously for more smaller items that he's going to be holding. Whereas this is a little bit wider of a grip for larger items. And then he comes with both right and left fist, which these are just, you know, mirror opposites. But great detail. I mean, you can see some really nice paint variation in there in terms of, you know, the actual skin tone. Just coming in there to take a little bit closer of a look at that, you can see some, like I said, really great variation in the skin texture as well as the tone. You got some, you know, very subtle marks in there that kind of look like, you know, moles or, you know, little small variations. And then obviously you see his veins right there. I mean, really quite impressive with the amount of paint detail that they put in these. Now, as I said, this is a set. You can buy Bruce Wayne just by himself, but if you buy it as a set, you get this exclusive setup here, which is his, you know, torn cowl. Towards the end of the Batman Returns, he ripped this off to expose, you know, his true identity to Selina Kyle. So it's cool that you can actually use this. You can take this, you can actually put it on the Batman figure, you can take Bruce Wayne's head off, you can put it on there and swap it out, and then you can have him, you know, holding this or something. I mean, like maybe using one of these smaller gripped hands, although that's probably, no, that's attached there, so you can't really use that one. and that's kind of attached too. So I guess you probably are just going to have to use something like this, you know, to kind of hold on to it, but although it doesn't hold it very well. So maybe let's try this. Oh, that's a little bit more closed of a grip. So I don't know, something, I mean, you could probably futz with it and get something cool kind of going like that, but I like that. I think that this is a nice display option. It allows you to recreate that scene from the film itself, and it's a really nice touch. I do dig this. And then obviously, in addition to all that, he does come with the display stand. It's just the standard one with the adjustable cradle, getting that right here so that you can kind of see that. You got the Batman that Returns logo right there. You got Bruce Wayne, and then you got the adjustable, you know, wire crotch grab right there. That, you know, works perfect. You just sit that right there. So very simple. Bam, you just set that like that, and you have it perfectly displayed. Now, with Batman, right now on him, I just have two fists, which are kind of hard to see because they're all black. But he gets a couple extra hands as well. Again, both right and left, kind of open hand. But again, they're not exactly the same. This one you can see is a little bit more of a close sort of grip, but both of them are very similar. And looking at this compared to the 1989 version, I think that these are reused. Unfortunately, I don't have that figure, or I don't have all that figure's accessories here, so I can't check that. But what I was able to see was on these ones right here. These are the hands that I have on that figure right now, and they look almost exactly the same. I mean, even when you look at some of like the wrinkles right down here, you got that kind of right here as well. All the knuckles kind of look the exact same, so I think they just reused the hands on it, which doesn't bother me because honestly you couldn't really tell if the hands were all that different anyhow. So you do have those ones right there. You also have some right here where, again, right and left hand, but they are sculpted a little bit differently to hold different weapons. And then he also has a left hand that's just kind of like a forced wave kind of hand, but I don't think Batman can use the force, but who knows. And then they come to some of his smaller little intricate kind of weapons and accessories. He does come with this little grapple gun right here. It can detach just like so. You can put that back together. And then you have this section which can swivel down, and you got the little magnet right there. He can hold that, and it can also clip to his belt, which is really nice. Real nice gold detail here on the little arrow section. But again, like I said, you can bring this, getting this out of the way, and well, coming up here a little bit so that you can actually see his belt. Bring that up, there we go, and bringing this on here, get that cape slightly out of the way, and you can see that attaches very nicely right there. So you can have that kind of displayed there if you know, if you want to. That's personal preference. He does come with this little line jump kind of thing, and in addition to that, it comes with these two little string pieces right here. What you basically have is these little arrows. They do come out. I'm not going to take them out because it's really difficult to get them back in there because they're very small. But basically what he did was he held this shot one way, so you would take this and you would plug this section in here, kind of like that, I guess. You would obviously remove that little arrow piece or arrowhead, and then you would have that kind of plugged in somewhere else, I guess. And then the reverse of it would go behind him, and that's why you get this second set as well. Again, they just peg in, but it's kind of recessed in there, so it's hard for me to hold this and kind of put it in there. So I'm not going to show that off, but you do have these little pieces right there, and obviously the weapon that goes along with it. He also does come with his remote control batarang, which is really cool. As you can see, it's that classic kind of shape, but as you can see, you can actually have it programmed, and he's got the 4 people right on there right now. And then he would throw it, and then it would bam, 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 and then when it went to the last person, a dog jumped up and grabbed it, and then carried it away, never to be seen again. So you do have that as well. And in addition to that, he does get 2 napalm grenades. Again, very simple. I mean, you can see that you got a little bit of color right there, and then they're goldish. Well, not really gold. Well, I guess maybe gold. But, you know, he took that out, and then he shook it up, and then he threw it at Selina Kyle. That's what these are. You get 2 of them, so really cool. Doesn't really do much, but just kind of sit there. He does come with a remote control with some real nice detail. You can see you got the little bat symbol right there in the middle. The paint looks a little bit scratched up right there. It's not too, actually, I mean, maybe that's just the angle that I was looking at. I mean, from that angle, it looks pretty good. But this is his remote control to control the Batmobile. You got the little speaker right there, and you got a little speaker there on the back. So overall, real nice detail on this little piece. And then he does get a signal jammer. This is what he used to get the penguins that were being remote controlled by the Penguin actually to turn against them. Really cool. I mean, the little red dot right there, I mean, that's actually a red translucent piece, it looks like, which looks really cool. You got a little green tip right there, and you got the silver bit right there. So again, real cool little accessory. A lot of these are very specific to, you know, certain scenes that were in the movie, but when you look at it, I mean, there's a lot that's here. And like I said, this isn't a deluxe figure set, so it's really very impressive. In addition to that, you do get some replaceable lower mouth sections. He does have the purse system, so you can move his eyes around, but you can also swap out his faces. But these ones, I'm kind of indifferent about this. It makes it look like that I'm trying to have them kiss. You can see that they are sculpted a little bit differently, but not a heck of a lot that honestly warrants the different, you know, sculpt being included. I wish they would have went with a much more exaggerated kind of look or something like that, because those are just way too close. And unfortunately, these cannot be swapped with the previous '89 Batman. These are a lot thicker, and they're also not magnetic. At least I can't tell. Yeah, there's no magnetic attachment to it or anything. Whereas that '89 Batman, they were attached by magnets. So you do get this. And again, like I said, it's not a deluxe set. You know, that was the original that came as that. So for them to give you those, and then obviously the purse system is quite impressive. This is this little rod that they use to, you know, articulate the eyes, but I'll go over all that when I go through the articulation. But instead of that little teeny tiny joystick that was in the back of the head, this is what they give you now. So that's really nice. And then in addition to all of that, Batman actually comes with a different kind of display stand than what we have here. This is very similar to the '89 one, but instead of that '89 logo, you got the Batman Returns logo. It just says Batman. I didn't put batteries in here, but it takes 3 triple or double A batteries, and then you flip the switch here on the back, and these little bits right here light up, which is nice. Again, I do wish they made it where you could put an AC adapter in there just so you could leave those on. That would be cool. But I like this. It's kind of embossed, as you can kind of see, and there's a little bit of a gritty texture on there, which is pretty nice. I really do like that. Again, I do kind of wish if they're going to give us larger bases, they would automatically include one of those to kind of go along with it. But I'm glad that they give us the stands regardless. For me, I'm a little bit nitpicky with them because I'm just really quickly running out of space. But for his accessories, that's what you all have. And like I said, if you get this set, you get these 2 extra pieces right here. Now, coming to the figures, and starting off here with Bruce Wayne, because he's probably going to be the easiest to go through without having to do all the comparison stuff. You can see that he's in his tuxedo outfit that he wore when, you know, both him and Selina Kyle went to that masquerade party. Everybody was all dressed up and everything. And this was a really cool kind of, you know, almost subtle message in the fact that Bruce Wayne is the mask. And the real person is Batman, and he puts on this, you know, kind of persona to hide who he really is, which is the Batman. It was the same kind of thing that we had going on, you know, with Selina. Like I said, both of them showed up just in some really fancy, you know, clothing and things like that. And that's what you have here. A really nice tuxedo. You can see he's got his little bow tie on there. Overall, real great tailoring on here. I'm really very impressed with it. Sometimes Hot Toys can get a little bit sloppy with, you know, some of their suits, kind of looking a little bit baggy and everything. This is very nicely tailored and, you know, fits on this body very nicely. I'm trying to get some of these. There's some little fuzzies on there. You can see that the buttons do detach and you can open it up. I mean, you probably wouldn't be going around many times with it like this. You got his little, you know, tuxedo shirt with the buttons. You do get some extra buttons just in case any of these pop off, but if you keep it like this, you're probably pretty safe with them not popping off. And then just putting that back on there. I would imagine you could take all this off. I'm not going to because that would probably be a pain in the butt. I do like how he actually does have a nice seam here for his pants. You can see that it's basically like, you know, an ironed pair of pants. I do appreciate that. Very nice, very glossy shoes here. Definitely a very tuxedo sort of look. I really dig it. Now, some people have complained about the likeness. We're going to talk about that right now. And coming in to take a closer look at it, I honestly think that it looks really good. One of the defining characteristics about Michael Keaton is the way that his lips look, and I definitely think that they did a good job with it. Now, granted, one of the selling points on this figure is the ability to take this head off and put it on, you know, the Batman body, and I think that's primarily the look that they were going with this overall face. you know, with that kind of a serious kind of scowl sort of look on there. So in a more relaxed kind of setup here with just, you know, his tuxedo and things like that, it might stand out a little bit and may not look nearly as good. I think it looks really great on the actual Batman body, though. I mean, it definitely has that kind of look right after he ripped that mask off of his head. You got some nice molded hair in there. In general, I really do think that they did a good job on the sculpting on this guy. Some proto images kind of showed like his hair down here being a little bit more poofy, but I like how it's actually tapered. But that's definitely one of those kind of instances where don't always go by what you see in the prototypes. Sometimes they look better, sometimes they look worse. And in this case, I think that it came out looking better than the prototype. But again, I mean, overall, just real nice suit on here. You got some nice fabric right on here that, again, like I said, just gives that overall tuxedo sort of look to it, which I think they nailed very nicely. Now for his articulation, the neck up here is all one piece. You got the joint that's a little bit lower here. So that's where you're getting the rotation, forward and back, up, down, left, right. You get a nice range of motion with that, and without having that, you know, extra joint right down here, it doesn't break that up. So I do like that. The shoulders move in and out. They rotate all the way around. A little bit harder to get things to rotate because the suit does kind of hamper some of that range of motion, but it is the standard Hot Toys body. You get the rotation, or you got the armpit joint, you got the rotation at the upper part of the bicep. You have two joints here at the elbow. Kind of wish that he actually had a watch or something. Now, granted, I know that he didn't wear that in the movie, or at least we didn't see it, but I would imagine he would probably be wearing a watch of some sort. I do like how he's got the, you know, the cuffs and the cufflinks right down there. It's a really cool touch to be having him wearing something like that. Like I said, on a tuxedo like this, you would probably have something like that, the little French cut sort of look, and I dig it. So trying to get that out a little bit more. So I like that, very classic and classy looking. So you do have the rotation at the wrist as well, forward and back. They're on those standard ball joints. You got an upper ab crunch. You got a lower waist rotation. Like I said, the body is basically the exact same that we've gotten before. You got forward to back, in and out rotation at the upper part of the thigh. He's got two joints here at the knee. You come down here and he's got a pivot here in his foot, forward, back, in and out on a basic ball joint. So all the same articulation that you would expect on a standard figure, this guy has. And I'm very happy with it. I think that it turned out very nice. And one of the reasons why I like Michael Keaton as Batman is because for me to play Batman, you got to basically be able to play two characters. You got to be able to play Batman and Bruce Wayne, and I really felt that Michael Keaton did a great job of playing both of those characters. I think that he did a great job as Batman and also as Bruce Wayne, so I'm very happy to have an actual Bruce Wayne figure here. And now coming to Batman himself, and obviously, as you can see, I don't have his cape on there. I'm going to show you how to attach that and everything here in a second, but it makes it a little bit easier to kind of go through and show the overall body, and then the comparison to the 89 version without that cape on. It's just kind of flopping and getting in the way, but overall, I really do like this. Now, there is a difference between this and obviously the original 89, the Batman version. Body-wise, I think that underneath is essentially the same. The suit is obviously different, though, and that's something that changed in the film itself. A lot of people like the way that this looks because it's a little bit more of an armored sort of look. Personally, I like the 89 look because it has a little bit more of a classic superhero kind of look with, you know, like molded abs and things like that. But that's not to say that this is a bad suit or anything. There's a lot of improvements that are on this that I really think, in general, make it a better looking suit. But, you know, I still have a sweet spot for that 89 guy. And here's that 89 Batman. And as you can see, you know, the similarities are definitely there, but there are definite changes to it. One thing that, you know, I do like a little bit more on the Batman Returns version would be the cowl. I think it looks a little bit nicer, has a little bit more of an exaggerated kind of eyebrow look. And the 89 one has that as well, but that just is a little bit more crisp. And then I like how the ears are a little bit more straight, where you can see these ones, they're straight, but they're rounded on the outside. That's something I think that, you know, the overall update to the suit really benefited from. One thing that you're also seeing is the logos are different. They actually messed up on the logo initially, and that's how it was done. They changed it when it came out to the Returns version, which, I mean, it's kind of a weird sort of thing, but as goofy as that looks, especially here at the bottom, again, it's a classic look for me that for some reason I just really like. You can see that the body is molded differently. The suit, like I said, has a little bit more of an armor look, whereas the 89 one just has a little bit more anatomical sort of look, where I guess this one looks like he's wearing more of a suit, whereas this one just kind of looks like it's an actual body. You can see that the belt is essentially the exact same. You got a little bit more black detail on the inside here, and then this piece just attaches to it, so you can remove that if you want to. You come around here to the side, and you can see, again, the arms basically are a little bit different. The gauntlets down here are a little bit more armored looking on the 89 one, whereas the Returns ones is a little bit more streamlined and not as bulky. You come around here to the back, and you can see that, again, what they basically went with on the 89 version was more of a recreation of how it actually looked. I mean, the suit was really kind of awkward and pieced together, and you definitely have that here, especially with these lines and stuff. It's ugly, there's no question about it, but that's how the suit actually was. And then this, again, much more streamlined. One thing that you're also maybe noticing is that there's a lot more texturing on this. It really does have more of a, I guess, let's say a bat wing sort of texture, where it's a little bit more leathery looking. Same with the actual cowl itself, whereas the Returns version is a little bit more smooth. You know, so this one really does have a little bit more of an organic sort of look, and that kind of goes along with the chest and the abdomen area just in general. So I really do like that. I think it's nice. You come down here to the boots. The boots are a little bit more different. You can see that these are essentially just shoes that he wore. Now, I do want to say that they were Nike, but obviously they're not going to have the Nike logo on there. And then you just got the armor section right here. What they've updated for the new one is basically the same thing. You got the armored shin piece, and then the boot in the foot area looks a little bit more incorporated with the actual shin. So it's like one full boot as opposed to a shoe with a boot. And then I like how they actually got the Batman logos that are inside here. I don't know how well that's going to come across. You can kind of see it right there. So again, really very, very cool. Now, the other thing is the cape. For the new Batman Returns version, he comes with a much nicer cape than the original one did. As you can see, it's got just one layer, but it also has wires that run down the side. So you got like wire here, got a wire here, wire on the back. It attaches via the same way. You just got this little loop section right here that attaches here. But setting these guys all the way in the back here, and hopefully they'll stand. But you can see the original cape, again, had a little bit more kind of texturing on it, but it was very thick. It's 2-ply, essentially. So this is the old cape. This is the new cape. And as you can see, this one really doesn't look all that good compared to this one. This one drapes a whole lot better than this one did. I mean, just having it stand here, you can see how poofy this gets. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it is, you know, 2 layers. I mean, you can kind of see it's separating right there. You got this more silky kind of interior, and then the outside is kind of that pleather sort of material. This is just a much nicer cape. Now, there are some custom capes out there that you can get that are even better. It's your personal preference if you want to add that to your figure, but to attach this, what you do is you come around here, is lift this up, and you pull his head off just like so. And then you take this, you drape this over him, and it does take a little bit of futzing when you're doing it, just to get that overall look lined up properly. You want to bring that over, getting that all lined up, because what you need to do is make sure that these ridges actually line up with the little edges of the cowl itself. So you want to just, like I said, futz with it a little, pulling things back and getting things to line up as best as possible. Then you just take this head and you give that a nice little push, get that locked back down. Let's see, did that work? It kind of felt like it did. So then you just, again, kind of futz with things, getting things as lined up as best as possible. And you can see on the back here, again, it kind of carries over, but you just gotta line it up as best as you possibly can, and you just kind of pull and tug and slide it off to the side just like so, and do your best to kind of get it lined up. That actually doesn't look too bad. You can see it kind of flows there pretty nicely, but overall the cape just looks much nicer. Now again, a lot of futzing is required to kind of get it to drape a little bit better. It still probably doesn't drape as good as some people would like, and I kind of agree with it. You can use those wires to kind of tuck things in and get an overall better kind of appearance for it, but it does still kind of stick out. So you do, like I said, have to do some manipulating of the material to kind of get it looking as best as humanly possible. And one thing I will tell you is that his gauntlets here, these little pieces right here, as you can see, this Batman, I don't know what had happened to it. Honestly, I think that it's stuck somewhere in the Batmobile, but sometimes they pop out, and my recommendation would just to be glue them in. But these are very, very, very sharp, so you want to be careful when you're pulling and putting the finishing touches on the cape, because those can and will pop through. Now, luckily mine haven't yet, but if you don't get that position just right, you will have potential rippage in your cape, because you can see right here, I don't know how you're, well, you can kind of see it. It's kind of pushing on that a little bit. I'm not going to push too hard. I don't want to damage it, obviously, but you do want to be careful when you're futzing with this guy, because you could potentially damage the overall look of the suit. So pulling this in, I'm not very good at posing things, so I'm just trying to get this looking as good as humanly possible. Pull that all the way down. Let's see, something like that, I guess. Yeah. How's that look to you guys? Does that look pretty good? I do wish that that kind of sat down a little bit more. If you tug it, you can kind of push it down a little bit flatter, but all in all, a huge improvement over what this guy's cape was. And then coming in here to take a closer look at the actual Batman head sculpt and everything, I just popped it off the body. We're going to show you how to swap out the head and everything with Bruce Wayne here in a second. But you can see real great detail, and again, very cool likeness, I really feel, to Michael Keaton. That looks really quite impressive. You come around here to the back. This section right here, you can kind of see the lines right there, which, you know, some people have complained about. I don't think it really looks all that bad, to be totally honest with you. It just kind of looks like a regular seam. But you just pull this off, just like so. It's held on by magnets. So pulling that out, just like so. And then on the inside, very hard to actually see, but you got the joysticks that you use this piece to kind of manipulate. So I don't know how well that's going to come across here, but you can kind of... I can see it. How well you're going to be able to see it is going to be tough. Coming as best as I can, but you can kind of see, you can kind of see the eyes moving around, which is cool, because one thing that you couldn't really do, even on the real life sort of suit, was turn your head. It was something that was really kind of unfortunate. You know, his eyes are all cross-eyed. But you couldn't really turn your head while you were wearing the suit. That was one thing that Michael Keaton complained about. This one was a little bit better, but at least this way you can move those eyes around and kind of get him looking in different directions and things like that. So that's really cool that they have that. Again, it's not a DX figure, so it's cool that they actually included that. To swap out the mouth plate, you come around here, and then again on the bottom, using the opposite side of this little wand thing, you push along the bottom and you push this whole mouth section out just like so. And then you take whatever one that you want, you put that in, give that a nice little push to make sure that you get all those ridges kind of lined up, and getting the mouth looking like it's the face looking like it's actually recessed in there. So getting that pushed up, because I can kind of see a little bit. I don't know if I can get the light through there. Yeah, there you go. You can see there's a little bit of a gap right there, which is probably not a good thing. But if you put that back on there, it obviously closes that up, so it looks a little bit better. But, I mean, like I said, I mean, for me, the mouthpieces really... I wish that they were a little bit better in terms of the way that they were presented to us, in terms of expressions, I guess. So I don't mind it all that much, but you do have that bit of articulation, I guess you could say, you know, with the eyes themselves. Now, if you want to put on Bruce Wayne's, you know, head, all you need to do, here's the body, and again, if you want to recreate that scene, basically what you do is you just take this and you put that right in through there. And again, this is where I'm thinking that the sculpt for this really comes in and looks very cool. So again, you just take this, then it's just on a ball joint, you line this up, and let's see here, where's the little peg? There we go. And then you give that a nice little push, There we go. And obviously you would have the cape on, but again, that is a really cool display option. That's only available if you buy this, 2-pack set. I really do like the way that that looks. Obviously, it's going to look a lot better when the cape's on there, but all in all, really cool additional sort of display option. Then you can't really put that on him, but you can have him, ripping that off and holding it in his hand or something. It's all really very cool. And again, just pop that out like so. Take that off, put that off to the side, and then you put the regular head back on, pops on there very nicely. Now, for his articulation, like I showed you, you got the eyes. The head is on a ball joint, but you're not going to get a lot of range of motion with it because of this. So in terms of getting a really cool sort of pose, you're going to have to manipulate those eyes. I mean, if you want him, looking that way with his body facing that way, just turn his eyes, and for a display, it looks pretty cool. The suit here is rubber. There's a little bit of give to it and some cushioning underneath, but one thing that I've noticed is that you can get the arms down a lot more than what you could with this guy. And by that I mean, like, you can get them closer to the body. This one, they just stick out because of how bulky that suit is. So it's cool to see that this does kind of sit a little bit better. They do rotate, but again, the suit does kind of hinder some of the articulation. You're not going to get a lot of dynamic poses with this, but you got the up and down, forward and back, you got the armpit joint, you got the rotation at the upper part of the bicep. They're ratchet joints here in his elbow, but one thing that I would caution against is leaving, because this is a rubber suit. I wouldn't leave, these arms bent like this for too long. It could potentially damage it. I have seen people that have had problems with their '89 Batman. I've always just left him standing there with this cape, so I've never had any of those problems, luckily. But you do want to be careful with the overall rubber on the body. You can see that the waist does rotate. You got the upper ab articulation. It does have the lower hip articulation as well, so it does rotate. Not a lot though, as you can see. It kind of springs right back again because of the suit. The hips do move forward and back, but again, rubber really restricts a lot of this stuff. You do get, it feels like 2 joints here at the knee. They're both ratchet joints, so I guess you could rotate it, and then that ratchet kind of holds a little bit better, and then the ankles down here only pivot in just a little bit, not a heck of a lot. They tell you really not to do too much of it at all. The hips or the upper part of the thigh rotate, but all that stuff is limited just by the suit itself, so you're not going to get a lot of poses. And one thing that does kind of stink is that it actually, in moving this, it actually is a little bit harder to get him positioned in a driving pose. So if you have that Batmobile, you're not going to get him really sitting in there very well. The other '89 Batman actually sat in there a little bit better than I feel this guy could possibly do. So if that was an option that you wanted to do, it is going to be a little bit trickier to do. I actually just like having him stand in front of it. I think that's a little bit cooler of a pose, but if you're familiar with that '89 Batman, you basically know what you're getting with this guy. In terms of the articulation, it's all still there, but very, very limited because of the suit. One thing that I did forget to show off kind of here, I mean, you got the grappling gun that does have the magnet in there, so you just take that and then you put that right there. You can also do that on the '89 Batman as well, but his little signal jammer also has a magnet in there that you can attach just like so. So I guess weapon storage, I guess, on Batman. All in all though, I really do think that this is a great set to get. If you're a Batman fan, a lot of people look at Michael Keaton as the definitive version of that character. And this is a great way to kind of add that to your collection. Not only do you get a really cool updated Batman, which a lot of people like a little bit more than that '89 one just because of the way that the suit looks, but you also get a Michael Keaton version of Bruce Wayne. And I think that both really turned out very nicely. My only complaint that I would really have is that due to the way that the suit is, you're very limited in terms of your poses. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing because, like I said, just having him stand there I think looks really cool. I don't think a lot of people are going to be putting him in a lot of dynamic fight scenes or anything. But one thing that really does hurt because of his articulation is the fact that you can't get him into a decent sitting pose to get him in the Batmobile. Now for me, I'm not going to display him in the Batmobile. I wasn't ever going to display him in the Batmobile, so I guess that's one of those things that it really depends on the collector. But I really think that this set turned out very nicely. Now obviously, if you just are interested in picking up Batman, that is available. But I think one of the real cool aspects is picking up both of them. And when you do that, you do get this exclusive, ripped cowl sort of accessory, which again just adds to the overall display options that are available to you. Now, price-wise, because this is a 2-pack, is a little bit higher, but at the $345 that this goes for, I do think that you're getting a really good value. You get 2 full-on figures and a ton of accessories with them. So like I said, I really do feel that that value is there. Now, the only thing that we're left hoping for is what they teased us a long time ago, that being Catwoman and Penguin. When we got the Joker from the first movie, it would be awesome to get those 2 villains from Batman Returns. But if you're interested in picking up Batman or this set, it is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on these guys, as well as the rest of their 1/6 scale Hot Toy or Sideshow figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been optibotimus. Don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.